So now we're going to go over, let me erase my screen here. Now we're going to go over tools and tools nested within this. So we have our line segment tool that you can use to draw a line. So right now I'm clicking and dragging. If you double click or just click on it, you can put in a specific length, like say that you're making something and you know that this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and you need that to be a 3-inch line, you can make that. And sorry, let me do that. And you can also adjust the angle right there. So another way to modify that. Also with this one, if you hold down the shift key, it's going to automatically kind of click or lock to a specific angle, or kind of like the 45, 90, that kind of angle as well, which is a good thing to be able to use. Here's where it gets fun. Okay, so once I have a line drawn, I can come up here to my menu bar and I can adjust the width, or I'm sorry, the stroke of it. Stroke is the same thing as weight, if you look over here. I can also adjust the cap. So the cap is our ends right here. I can have it have a rounded end or an end that extends beyond that anchor point. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to draw kind of an L shape. Notice I have a kind of that direct angle right there. Now as long as I have this highlighted, I can also have a rounded angle there, or one that's kind of cornered off like that. I'm going to up the stroke on this one a little bit. Here's another thing that's neat. If you want to create a dashed line, all you got to do is click that button. I was playing around with this earlier, so that's why it's set like this. Yours will be set like 0. So you can make a custom dashed line. So there's like 12.2 point. Notice how then it's just a small break gap between each dash. And then if I put a 5-point dash in there, so you can play around with that and make your own dashed line. Another thing that is, oh wait, what happened? Where did you go? Undo. Another thing that's neat is that you can create different arrowheads on the top. And so I got all sorts, if you want to create an arrow, I think there's even like a cool pointy finger, there it is. And you can arrange the scale here if you want it to be smaller. Oh, you can't even see it now. Or larger. Might want to be careful with that. And then you can create something else on the other side as well, if you want to. Watch out where that guy's going. The other thing that's neat is the profile. So this is kind of different widths. You can change this down here, but also up here. And so this will adjust the width. As you can tell, it kind of tapers from a small width to a wider width and then back down to a small width. And at some point I'll show you guys how you can also create your own custom width. These work typically, we'll talk about this again when we get into different brush strokes, because that's how we can get a really cool kind of graphic or stylized or hand-drawn look, is adjusting these widths here. Also nested underneath here we have an arc tool. Again, if you hold down the shift key, you'll notice it changes to a kind of that perfect arc. We also have a spiral tool. And remember, at any time you can take your selection tool and flip that around, right? Or I love to do like copy paste, place it on top of each other to create like a symmetrical sort of design. Yeah, it looks like a mustache. We also have a rectangular grid, which again, if you hold that shift key down, it'll automatically click to be a perfect square. And we have a polar grid, so like a circle one. When do you guys see yourselves maybe possibly using these grid options here?
Making a globe?
Making a globe? Yeah, that's a great point. Any other time, do you think, Tim?
When you want things to be in precise locations.
Bingo. So, yeah, or if you're going to be preparing for a drawing and you want a grid over it, bingo, there's a grid. You can work with that, kind of using that very standard grid drawing technique. So, all right, those are all the line tools I wanted to go through right now. Why don't you guys try them?